Everyone warned me about her, but no one ever explained why in a way that made sense. They just said her name in lowered voices, like saying it too loud might wake something that preferred to stay asleep. Don't get involved, they said. Don't ask questions. And whatever you do, don't touch her. I laughed it off at first because warnings without reasons feel like superstition, and I've never been good at believing in things I can't see. But from the moment I met her, I understood there was something different. Something heavy in the air that made conversations slow down and eyes linger too long. She didn't seek attention. It followed her. She spoke calmly, rarely smiled, and when she did, it felt like a secret you weren't supposed to be part of. I told myself I'd keep my distance, that I'd be smart, professional, unaffected. But distance becomes difficult when someone looks at you like they already know how your story ends. We spent weeks circling each other in silence and stolen glances, always surrounded by people, always careful. There was tension in the smallest things, the way her fingers brushed a glass, the way she stood just a second too close, the way she said my name like it carried weight. Late nights became routine, work stretching longer than it needed to, conversations drifting away from safe topics into quiet confessions that never quite crossed the line. Every instinct told me to stop. Every warning echoed louder. And yet, every time she looked at me, it felt like she was asking a question I was too afraid to answer. The night it finally happened didn't feel planned. It felt inevitable. The room was quiet, the city outside muted, and for the first time, there was no one else around to pretend for. She sat beside me, closer than ever before, and the silence between us wasn't empty. It was loaded. When her hand reached for mine, I froze, every warning screaming in my head. I should have pulled away. I should have stood up. Instead, I stayed. And when she gently guided my hand downward, not fast, not forceful, just deliberate, I realized this wasn't about desire alone. It was about trust, about crossing a line you can never uncross. And just before anything more could happen, she leaned in and whispered, "If you stay, everything changes." Soft pause for narration. If you're feeling this tension, this pull between right and wrong, make sure you subscribe because this story is only just beginning. Chapter 2. I didn't sleep that night, not because of what happened, but because of what almost did. Her touch stayed with me, not in my body, but in my mind, like a question left unanswered. Morning light has a way of making everything feel more dangerous, more real. By daylight, warnings don't sound dramatic anymore. They sound like regret waiting patiently. I avoided her the next day, convinced distance would fix what closeness had broken open. But distance only made it worse. She didn't chase me. She didn't explain. She simply waited, calm as ever, like she knew exactly how this would play out. When we finally spoke again, there was no apology in her voice, no temptation either, just honesty. She told me why people warned me, not rumors, not exaggerations, but the truth. Getting close to her meant choosing complexity over comfort, consequences over safety. People didn't get hurt because she was cruel. They got hurt because they underestimated what it meant to care. That night, when we were alone again, nothing dramatic happened. No sudden moves, no forbidden gestures, just a conversation that stripped away excuses and left only choice. She looked at me and said, "I won't pull you into this. You have to step in on your own." And in that moment, I understood the real danger wasn't her. It was the version of myself that couldn't walk away anymore. When I reached for her hand this time, it was different, slower, intentional, equal. She didn't guide me. She didn't test me. She just held on. And that was enough. Some lines aren't crossed in a single moment. They're crossed when you decide to stop pretending you don't want what's on the other side. The warning still stands. Touching her changes everything. But some changes don't ruin you, they reveal you. They didn't warn me because she was tempting. They warned me because she was untouchable. She was the kind of woman whose name stopped conversations mid-sentence. The kind people didn't gossip about because fear travels faster than rumors. She was the CEO's closest shadow. Some said advisor. Others said something far more complicated. No one knew exactly how much power she had, only that when she entered a room, decisions changed. I was new, ambitious, stupid enough to believe talent alone could protect me. The first time she looked at me, I felt it. That quiet assessment, like she was measuring how much damage I could survive. She never flirted, never smiled too long, and that somehow made it worse. Attraction is easier when it's obvious. What she did was subtler. She made silence feel intimate. Late nights at the office became unavoidable. Files to review, numbers to verify. Everyone else left early, always finding excuses not to be around when she stayed. I told myself it was coincidence. Then came the warnings, casual at first. Careful, don't stay alone with her. Finally, someone said it straight. Whatever happens, don't let her touch you. That should have scared me. Instead, it intrigued me. Because no one warns you about someone unless something already went wrong. The night everything shifted. The building was nearly empty. City lights reflected off the glass walls, making us feel suspended above the world. We spoke quietly, too quietly, like the walls themselves were listening. When she reached for my hand, my body reacted before my brain could stop it. I froze. She noticed. Slowly, deliberately. She interlaced her fingers with mine and guided my hand downward, just enough to make my breath hitch. Then she stopped, looked at me, and said, "Now you understand why they warned you." Nothing happened after that. And somehow that was worse. She let go like nothing had occurred, gathered her things and walked away, leaving me alone with the echo of my own pulse. The next day, the office felt different. Eyes followed me. Conversations stopped when I entered. I realized the warning wasn't about physical touch, it was about visibility. Being chosen by her meant being seen in ways you couldn't undo. That evening, she called me into her office. No witnesses, no excuses. She didn't sit behind the desk. She stood close, too close, and told me the truth. She wasn't dangerous because she crossed lines. She was dangerous because she let others cross theirs, and then watched what they did with that freedom. "People blame me for their choices," she said calmly. "I just reveal them." When she took my hand again, she didn't guide it this time. She waited. The room was silent except for the hum of the city below. I understood then this was the real test. Not temptation, but consent. Not desire, but consequence. I could walk away and stay invisible. Or I could stay and accept that nothing about my career or my life would ever be simple again. I chose to stay. Her fingers tightened slightly, not in triumph, but recognition. "Good," she whispered. "Now you know what it costs." By the time the CEO noticed me, it was already too late. Power always notices shifts before people do, and something in the building had changed. Meetings grew colder. Invitations stopped coming. I wasn't fired, I was isolated, which was far worse. She told me this would happen. She didn't warn me to scare me. She warned me to prepare me. The night he called me into his office, her absence was louder than any accusation. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten me. He simply asked questions that had no safe answers. How long had I known her? What exactly did I think I was worth? I realized then that touching her hadn't been about intimacy. It had been about stepping into a game where every move is remembered. When I left that office, my career felt like glass. Still standing, but one breath away from shattering. Later that night, She found me on the rooftop. No explanations. No apologies. Just truth. She told me the CEO didn't fear betrayal. He feared irrelevance. And people like her? They weren't protected because they were loyal. They were protected because they were necessary. You're standing where others stood, she said quietly. Some ran. Some begged. Some tried to use me. She looked at me then, really looked, and for the first time I saw something human behind the control. You didn't. That was when I understood the real warning. Touching her wasn't forbidden because it was wrong. It was forbidden because it marked you. And once marked, the system either breaks you or reshapes itself around you. A new role, more responsibility, less visibility, the kind of promotion that tests whether you're grateful or trapped. I accepted because walking away would have proven them right. She didn't congratulate me. She didn't celebrate. She simply said, "Now it begins." We saw each other less, but when we did, the air between us was heavier than ever. No touching, no late nights, just understanding. Desire doesn't always need proximity to grow. Sometimes distance sharpens it into something dangerous. I realized she hadn't pulled me into her world. She'd let me choose it, and choice carries weight. The final night before everything changed, she met me where this all started. Same city lights, same silence. This time, she didn't guide my hand. She placed it back where it belonged, over my own heart. "People think the warning was about me," she said. "It never was." She stepped back, giving me space, freedom, something rare in her world. I finally understood. Touching her was easy. Staying meant sacrifice. And some stories don't end with possession. They end with transformation. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but I knew one thing with absolute certainty. I would never be the person I was before that first warning again.